I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, October the 19th, 2015. An IDF soldier who was killed in a terror attack yesterday was laid to rest today. The funeral of 19-year-old Sergeant Omri Levy took place in his hometown of Sde this afternoon. Levy was murdered yesterday evening in a terror attack at the central bus station in Beersheba. 21-year-old Muhannad Al-Ukabi, who is a Bedouin, entered the bus station armed with a pistol and a knife. He stabbed and killed Levy, took his weapon, and proceeded to shoot and injure 11 other Israelis, most of them soldiers and police officers. Al-Ukabi was shot dead at the scene by Israeli security forces. Bedouin leaders expressed shock at the attack and strongly condemned it. Mayor of the Bedouin city of Rahat, Talal Al-Kariwi, told Israel's Channel 2, "We live in the Negev, Bedouins and Jews as brothers. Any attempt to damage our relationship will not be accepted." He said, "We are not part of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict." During the attack yesterday, Israeli security forces also shot an Eritrean man who they mistook for a second terrorist. He was then beaten by several Israeli civilians and died of his injuries later. Named as 29-year-old Haftum Zaroum. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemned the incident, saying that no one should take the law into their own hands and that Israel is a nation of laws. Police were looking for the civilians involved. And staying with Netanyahu, the Prime Minister is scheduled to be meeting later this week with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry in Berlin. Kerry announced the meeting in an effort to ease tensions in the region. The Times of Israel reports that there's a chance Netanyahu will postpone the Berlin trip due to the current situation in Israel. Kerry is also set to meet separately with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas and Jordan's King Abdallah. The exact location for those meetings have not yet been announced. A proposal from France to have an international presence at Jerusalem's Temple Mount has been rejected by Israel and by the U.S. France introduced the proposal to the United Nations Security Council. It would place international observers at the site, which is holy to both Muslims and Jews. Yesterday, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu noted that the proposal makes no mention of Palestinian incitement or terror. He said Israel will protect the holy sites, will guard the status quo. Israel is not the problem on the Temple Mount. Israel is the solution. And Israel summoned French ambassador to Israel, Patrick Maisonneuve, about the issue today. Speaking from Madrid today, Kerry weighed in on the proposal as well. He said Israel understands the importance of that status quo. What is important is to make sure everybody understands what that means. He said we are not seeking some new change. We are not seeking outsiders or others to come in. Israel's foreign ministry is fighting a Palestinian-sponsored proposal to have the Western Wall declared a part of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and a Muslim holy site by UNESCO, the UN's cultural body, which is set to hold a vote on the issue tomorrow. The foreign ministry called the proposal an attempt to distort history and blur the connection between the Jewish people and its holiest place, and to create a false reality. World Jewish Congress President Ronald Lauder warned UNESCO against adopting the proposal. Lauder said everybody should see that this is not about protecting holy sites. It's about bashing Israel. It's about sowing the seeds of strife, and it's about legitimizing violence. It must be stopped. And the Foreign Ministry of Israel is also expressing its outrage at a meeting held yesterday between South African President Jacob Zuma and Hamas leader Khalid Mashal. The country's ruling African National Congress had invited the terror group's leader for a state visit. Hamas has continued to praise terror attacks in Israel and urge its members to carry out more deadly attacks. Israel said Mashal's visit and invite, quote, provides a tailwind and support for terror and blatantly ignores the position of the international community, which views Hamas as a terror organization. Israel summoned South Africa's envoy to Israel for a meeting today. Thousands gathered yesterday in a show of solidarity with Israel in light of the current wave of terror. Israel supporters rallied in Rome, Paris, and Madrid, holding Israeli flags and signs reading, "I stand with Israel. United States Joint Chiefs of Staff General Joseph Dunford arrived in Israel Saturday night. He met with Israel's Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon and with IDF Chief of Staff Gadi Eisenkot. This was Dunford's first visit to Israel and first visit abroad since taking over from General Martin Dempsey on October the 1st. The meeting was seen as an effort to reaffirm the military relationship between Israel and the U.S. in light of the Iran deal. Dunford told Ya'alon that a foundation of the U.S.-Israel relationship is the military-to-military relationship that we have enjoyed. He said, and through all of the ups and downs, the military-to-military relationship has remained strong. It's never wavered. The Anti-Defamation League honored Jewish-American singer and musician Matisyahu for standing up against the anti-Israel BDS, or Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement. If you recall, the reggae artist was on the roster of the Rotterdam Music Festival in Spain this summer, when after refusing to comply with the festival organizers' demands to issue an anti-Israel statement, they canceled his performance. He was later re-invited. Matisyahu was recognized for his courage at the ADL's annual meeting in Denver, Colorado on Friday, where National Director Jonathan Greenblatt told the singer, "You have inspired a generation of young Jews to take pride in their heritage and to connect to it." And taking a look now at our programming for tonight, Monday, October the 19th, at 7:30, JBS's exclusive TV coverage of the 2015 Friends of the IDF Gala from the Waldorf Astoria in New York City. At 9 o'clock, Israeli reserve soldiers talk about their experiences on L'chaim. At 10, author Malcolm Gladwell discusses his latest book, David and Goliath, Underdogs, Misfits, and the Art of Battling Giants, from the 92nd Street Y. And coming up right after this newscast tonight, one of America's leading Middle East analysts, David Makovsky of the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, discusses the causes of Palestinian violence in Israel and the U.S. reaction to the violence. And Israeli journalist Sheila Raviv describes how Israelis are coping with the daily threats. That's on tonight's In the News with Mark S. Golub. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, October the 19th. I'm Teisha Bader.